Hi guys, the Benidorm Enthusiast here with Benidorm Stuff YouTube channel. I'm bringing you a little news update video today. There's been one massive change with coronavirus restrictions in that the mandatory use of the mask indoors here in Spain has come to an end. Almost. There are still some places you're required to wear a mask, which I'll cover, and there's a couple of other things I want to go over which have hit the headlines. So I'm going to be talking you through the latest news and hopefully clearing up some things for you. First of all, a quick weather update. We're still experiencing some weird weather here. Doesn't seem to be able to make its mind up what it wants to do at the moment. The sun is trying to get out again today. We had a big storm during the week. Wednesday morning there was torrential rain for a good few hours, along with thunder and lightning and strong winds. It cleared on Thursday and it does look like we're in for another nice weekend. It's still not normal weather for this time of year though. The shade temperature today is only 18 degrees and at the moment there's a bit of cloud, but it is only early. It will probably hit 20 later today, but it's really windy too. Overnight temperatures are around 12 degrees, so still very cold for this time of year. The forecast is mainly sun for the rest of the weekend, and there are a couple of sketchy days next week where they are predicting some more rain, but the forecast does change almost hourly here. You really can't trust more than a few hours ahead. It changes so quickly in this area due to the microclimate. So fingers crossed for all you guys heading out in the next week or so, you're in for some fabulous holiday sun. On to the news. Massive news this week in Spain. A huge milestone on the road to post-pandemic normality is the removal of the obligation to use the mask indoors almost everywhere. They've been very keen on the use of the mask here since the beginning of the pandemic. As I'm sure most of you are aware, we have had to wear it pretty much everywhere we went, including outside, for almost a year and a half. But this Tuesday, nearly 700 days since it was first required, the Council of Ministers approved the end of the mask indoors. The new order came into force on Wednesday and means you no longer have to wear a mask in shops, supermarkets, bars, restaurants, all those sorts of places, but there are still some instances where it is required. The main one which will affect tourists is public transport. I'm sure some of you use public transport to get out and about whilst you're on your holidays, so please be aware the mask is still required when using buses, trains and taxis for example, although it is not mandatory now at the stations or platforms. The mask is also still required in health and medical centres. That's hospitals, pharmacies, doctors' surgeries and social health centres such as care homes. When it comes to workers inside, the decision is left up to the companies themselves to assess the risk and decide if they will still require staff to wear a mask. So, as I said, a major step forward in overcoming the pandemic and learning to live with COVID in Spain. I'm sure many will still continue to use the mask for now. It has become second nature to most here in Spain after doing it for so long, and it is still recommended in many situations. But I'm sure as time goes by we will see less and less of the mask when we're out and about, going about our daily business. Next on today's agenda, I'm going to talk about a new tourist tax in Spain. Now, this is something which has been discussed for a while here and it still continues to be debated. It's been surfacing in the news again this week, so I'm going to try and explain what's happening. The bill proposing the tax, which will be from 50 cents to €2 a night depending on the accommodation, has just been registered in the Valencian courts, and so it could come into play in this region in the year 2024. But, and this is very important, it will be a voluntary tax, which means that it will be up to the individual city councils whether or not they impose the tax. And Benidorm is strongly against introducing the tax on tourists who stay here. The general feeling is that even the rumours of a tourist tax being introduced for Benidorm are having a negative effect, with headlines in the UK press causing some damage to the tourism sector already. And most involved with the tourism sector are saying it's just not the time to be imposing such a tax on visitors when we're all trying our best to encourage people back here to help the resort recover. So I want to make it clear here that Benidorm Council has no intention of applying this tax to its visitors. The opposition to the tax has been made loud and clear by the Hotel Association and the Mayor of Benidorm. In reality, it's a non-starter for Benidorm, so don't worry if you're hearing rumours about increased costs due to a new tourist tax. It is very unlikely we will see it having any effect on holidays in Benidorm. That's the major news covered. So what else has been going on in Benidorm? Well, Easter weekend was amazing. A very successful puente, as it's called here in Spain. Bars and restaurants in Benidorm invoiced 10% more than any pre-pandemic Easter, but profits were estimated to be 10% less due to the increased costs of, well, pretty much everything. Hotels were registered at 95% occupancy on average, with many celebrating being completely full at the weekend. Even better numbers than what was predicted. I think that's down to lots of last-minute visitors who waited to see how the crazy weather had panned out. Luckily, the weekend saw lots of sun and high temperatures. The beaches were absolutely packed out. It was really great to see. Almost all the acquired bars and restaurants are now open, and most hotels. The theme parks are starting to open up too. Mundamar and Terra Natura Zoo are fully open, and as the weather picks up, we'll see more attractions and excursions opening up, ready for you guys to enjoy over the warmer months. We're now approaching the time when the international tourism summer season starts. May sees a massive influx of British and Irish visitors, and despite there still being restrictions on unvaccinated people coming in, the numbers are looking good. There's no date set yet for changes to entry requirements, so as it stands, for adults you must be fully vaccinated to enter Spain or have the recovery certificate. 12 to 18s who aren't vaccinated can come in with a negative test, but this option isn't available for adults yet, and we don't know when it will be. Under 12s don't need any COVID documentation to come into Spain. The passenger locator form for entering Spain has gone in most circumstances. We did a video on this recently. If you haven't seen it, check back on that, as it will hopefully explain more thoroughly the ins and outs of the new system. Basically, if you have an EU digital certificate or EU equivalent, you don't need to fill in the locator form anymore. Great news for most travellers. So we're all looking forward now to seeing lots of happy British and Irish tourists in resort as we come into May, what's usually a very busy month for all the businesses which are aimed at these visitors. We'll be covering it all on this channel, of course, and hope to get some of your smiling faces on camera. If you're heading out in the next few weeks, let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this little news update. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future updates, and also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok at the Benidorm Enthusiast. Have a great weekend, stay positive and stay safe.